Thanks for joining us for Small Talks for Big Change, where we help simplify financial topics to help with your financial wellness. I'm your host, Michelle Enriquez, Membership Development Manager here at Patelco. And today, we're going to talk about a subject that's unfortunately close to home for me, and that's on the topic of romance scams and fraud. And we have the pleasure of having Jennifer Mink on the show today. Hi, Jen.
Hello. Good to see you.
Thanks for being here with us.
Absolutely.
So Jen is the manager of member experience here at Patelco. And it seems lately, Jen, that you've been doing quite a bit in the way of helping educate our members about different types of fraud.
Yep.
Just recently, you did a radio spot with The Breeze to talk about job scams, which was amazing information. Today, we're going to talk romance scams. And, I mentioned I have this firsthand experience with a close family member that was a victim of a romance scam. So, unfortunately, I understand how much more devastating a scam can be beyond the financial damage that Absolutely. It can do. So let's start off, Jen. So I mentioned the spot that you did with The Breeze about job scams. And I'll tell you, I have heard of all types of different fraud, but never job scam fraud. So tell us a little bit about that and what we can look out for in the way of job scam.
Absolutely. So with job scams, these have really become prevalent since the COVID-19 pandemic, unfortunately. And we all know that scammers capitalize on tragedy, right? And so what we've seen specifically at Patelco is members that are out there looking for work. They've either lost their job or something's happened that they need to find work. So, of course, they go to reputable sites, like LinkedIn. And these scammers are on there, and they're looking for these vulnerable people. So what happens is the scammer may hire somebody, our member, and say, I have a remote work job for you. And in order to get you the equipment that you need for this job, I'm going to send you a check for $2,500. And with that check, I want you to purchase a computer, a printer, and they give them a dollar amount, right? Don't spend more than $800. And they'll deposit the check to their account. They'll go and they'll purchase the computer equipment. And then the scammer will say something to the nature of, okay, and with the remainder, you keep $200, but send me the rest back in gift cards. And then the member will go purchase gift cards. And the scammer will ask for the gift card number and PIN. And that will be provided to the scammer by the member. And then a few days later, that check comes back as fraud. So not only has this person's hopes and dreams died that they're going to have a job, but now they have a loss of $2,500. And could it actually end up being even more than that? So people need to really be careful. Make sure that you're validating who you're working with. If they say they're from a reputable company, just verify. Yeah. Just make sure.
And so we've got the financial, piece of it, but then there's also the emotional piece of it. So let's talk about romance scams. And, I mentioned, my close family member was a victim of a romance scam and actually still, going through the process now. But in their situation, their Facebook profile's public. All of their interests and photos and, hopes, dreams, goals, it's all out there for, anyone to see. And, with likes of Google and all the social media platforms out there, it could be very easy for somebody to do a quick search.
Absolutely.
Engage in conversation with you and appear to, be somebody that you connect with. So tell us, is that how this romance scams start? Tell us how this works and tell us what our members are experiencing here.
It's devastating. And not only the financial loss of it, but the emotional abuse that comes with a romance scam is horrible. And unfortunately, working at Patelco, I've seen it multiple times. These scammers they're crafty. Like you said, they go to social media, Facebook. They look at your pictures. They look at, like you said, hopes and dreams. They look at their posts. They try to kind of build a relationship with the person based on what they're posting. And then that person establishes a connection quickly because they feel like this person knows me, this person wants to be with me, they're professing love to me. And it can happen quickly, and people don't even realize it. We also see these things happening through apps like Words with Friends. You're just there to play an innocent game, and somebody starts a conversation with you, and before you know it, you're in the middle of a romance scam. And one of the big red flags is that if somebody communicates with you and is professing love, have you met this person? Have you seen them in real life? If the person is saying, I can't meet with you because of this, or I'm out of the country, or my job just doesn't allow, that is a huge red flag. Mm-hmm. If you can't just call up that person or text that person and say, hey, let's get together for dinner or lunch, and they always have an excuse, you should be suspicious of that.
And you've mentioned gift cards both within the job scams and the romance scams that happen to be the form of payment that this individual happened to be asking of my family member. So gift cards, always a red flag. And it always happened to be Apple gift cards in my situation. Is that the case?
Absolutely. They will send them into grocery stores, Apple gift cards. It can be Target, Amazon. Okay. It's usually high dollar amounts, so $500, $250, things like that. You should always be suspicious. And these people are really good at what they do, right? They establish that connection, that emotional connection, and not shortly after that, they will start asking you to send them money. And that's when the scam begins.
Okay. And I know for me and my family during that time, we didn't have a whole lot of options. We called our financial institutions. And for us here at Patelco, once that money's left your hand, and if it is in the form of a gift card or a wire, not a whole lot that we can do to retrieve the funds. So in those situations, and I'll just add that, relying on your local law enforcement, doesn't really get you anywhere also because these types of scams are just so prevalent. There's so much going on. I mean, how could anyone possibly catch everything that's out there? So let's talk about what Patelco's doing to help educate our members and help to support our members through this, because we've made this a priority here at Patelco.
Absolutely.
So I've heard that there's a fraud center coming soon.
I'm super excited.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that our members need support. And our marketing team has done a phenomenal job of building a fraud center on our website, patelco.org. We realize that our members don't have a lot of resources out there. Like you mentioned, law enforcement. It's really hard. It's hard to catch these scammers, right? So we need to have a place where members can educate themselves. Look for what the scam red flags may be. What to do if they are scammed. Kind of like a one-stop shop for scams and fraud. And this fraud center is robust. It has a ton of information. How to prevent a scam, what to do if you are scammed, who to report it to, things like that. So this is going to be a great resource for our members' well-being, and I am so excited. It's wonderful.
Amazing. So when a member does call also, I heard that we're doing some things on the back end too to navigate those calls to a specialized team to support with fraud.
Super exciting. We have a new fraud team in our member contact center. So red flags, if you're seeing red flags, if you are a victim of fraud, you can contact our member contact center, and they have a fraud team specifically to help our members with that. Okay. We're doing everything we can to support the financial well-being of our members, and these are just two of the things that we have started.
That's so great to hear. I think, because there's so much fraud that's occurring, we have accepted that a portion of our members are going to experience. So what can we do to just help our members feel less anxious about what's going on and kind of give them a direct pathway to remedy? So with everything out there, I feel like it's so hard for us to keep up with everything and educate on the front end as much as possible. So if you were to give us one or two key red flags to look out for, and I know we can't be experts as it all, but two things to leave with our listeners today in terms of staying vigilant with fraud, what would you say?
Three things, actually. And I think number one is to just know and accept that there are scammers and fraudsters out there. I think realizing that you will always be on the defense instead of the offense. Number two, if somebody starts asking you for personal information, red flag. Online banking credentials. They want to gain access to your computer, maybe shadow a session and ask you to log into online banking, and they want to watch you do that. Big red flag. The third red flag is if they start asking you for money or gift cards, call us. We can walk you through that. We can tell you what to do. I do want to mention that a lot of our members do come in and want to do wire transfers. And they can sometimes even have the scammer on the phone in their pocket. Anytime somebody tells you to lie to your financial institution or not share the truth, that is a red flag, and you need to let us know. We know you're scared. We know sometimes it's even really embarrassing that you feel like maybe you've fallen for a scam, but we are here to help. That is our mission. So
Incredible.
Always let us know.
Incredible. So thank you so much for sharing all this information. I have a feeling you're going to be back soon so we can talk about hopefully not more frauds and scams, but the reality of it, I think to your very first point, is that it is really prevalent. It is a growing industry at this point.
Absolutely.
With, up to $1 trillion in fraud occurring out there. So we'll be excited to hear more from you in the future. So thanks so much for being with us, Jen. That concludes our episode of Small Talks for Big Change today, where we help simplify financial topics to help with your financial wellness. We'll see you next time.
Selco Credit Union is insured by NCUA.